I don't know if there's any public audience. I don't believe so. No public audience. We'll move to the approval of the minutes for May 1st, 2023.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved. Second by who?
Bill.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of them as
Aye.
they are?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Meeting minutes are accepted. Move on to the Latimer Lane project, starting with Arcadis's report. Someone from Arcadis.
Yep, sorry about that, was on mute. Good evening, everyone. So construction throughout the month of May continued on. In our report, we included a 90-day look-ahead schedule for construction. ONG is going to discuss the activities that took place in our ongoing upcoming in their section of the meeting. Overall, there have been no major budget changes. Currently, we've expended about 19.8% of the overall budget, and that is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Any questions for Arcadis? Members of the committee?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the report from Tecton.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Building Committee. Justin Hopkins with Tecton Architects. Within your monthly PBC update, we've identified our construction RFI total for the month of May, which is 24 for a total of 122 RFIs. We received 23 submittals for a total of 316. We're approaching completion of the amount of submittals that are incoming, so that number should be decreasing. I think we've got the majority of the volume of submittals through here. There is application for payment number 6 that is part of your approval this evening. We've also held a number of meetings with the project team, primarily ONG and Arcadis for and our consultant teams for weekly BIM coordination meetings. We hold an RFI and submittal and PCO review meeting as Arcadis, ONG, and Tecton. That's weekly, and we've been holding bi-weekly meetings as a total project team in the field, owner, architect, and contractor or construction manager. And that includes representatives from Simsbury Public Schools and members of the town. We have also, in our off OAC meeting weeks, we're meeting regarding FF&E and technology with Jason, Neil, Mike, and their teams to start narrowing the project budgets for technology and FF&E. We also included in your packet the bulletins that have been issued during the month of May. 4 bulletins, one to resolve, which was bulletin 18, to resolve a corridor pinch point. This is kind of a typical bulletin where we respond to an RFI. Steel is at an elevation that was not as indicated in the existing documents. As we tear down some walls, we have to negotiate some clearances. We also issued bulletin 16R, which was a revision to classroom wiring. We had provided wiring to clock locations. Those are going to be wireless battery operated clocks. We also issued a bulletin for water meter relocation based on information from the water company, and some coordination items for gymnasium fan and an additional data port in the custodial closet. That is more or less the monthly report. We have representatives from SLR, the civil engineer, and CES, the MEP, FP engineer. There are a few PCOs or potential change order, proposed change orders to go over tonight. They'll be happy to answer any questions regarding those. The good news is that we're at a much lower level than we were last month.
Good
Where we
news.
were-
Good to hear. Good to hear. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Bill,
Mr.
do you have a
Chairman,
question?
so Justin, I think you mentioned that you're getting close on the FF&E. Are we getting closer to where we might have a budget to actual?
Yes, so far, I can give you, without giving you actual data, we are considerably below our technology number, and modestly higher on our FF&E number. So all of that, we kind of look at these for phase 3 of 3 as OSC GNR considers it as a total FF&E and technology number. I believe we're within budget on that right now.
So you're saying the under on the technology and the over on the FF&E will pretty much be close to a wash?
If not modestly under the total budget.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from the committee? Hearing none, we'll move on to O&G's report.
All right, good evening. Just want to start off in update on the schedule. And currently, phase 1 is still holding the December 19th of 2023 substantial completion date. And phase 2 and 3 have not started. Phase 1 is 31% complete currently. And so phase 1A, some of the completed activities we did since the last meeting was the steel, and phase 1A was completed. The exterior CMU, the cold form metal framing, the sheathing, and AVB, and interior framing with the frames, and some items that have started but are not complete is the roofing and the duct, electrical, and plumbing rough have started, and brick and sheetrock will be starting this month also. For phase 1B, the roofing was completed, same thing with the exterior CMU, the cold form metal framing, the sheathing, interior walls and frames. The AVB has commenced, but it's kind of weather dependent right now. We're trying to find a couple good days without rain. So that should be completed this week. The duct, electrical, and plumbing rough are all ongoing. And the brick and sheetrock are also going to commence this month in phase 1B. For the site work, the north lot curbing, and it was graded, that was completed. The water line is going to commence this month. The new power pole from Eversource is supposed to get put in this week. The transformer pad was completed. Sidewalks are ongoing. We're probably about 75% complete. And then as soon as the students and the staff are out around June 15th, we're going to start the stormwater detention system in the east lot. And that's the completed activities and ongoing activities for the next month. One thing I do want to touch on that we spoke about last week was the temporary switchgear. I've been in close contact with the electrical contractor, spoke to again this afternoon with them, and they should have within the next couple days a final resolution on the gear and what they're going to procure for that. So we'll be all set for a turnover at the end of this year for phase 1. And I think that is it.
Thank you, Jay. Any questions from members of the committee? I have one about the switchgear.
Yes.
Do you have any numbers, any rough numbers for us to be thinking about, so that when you do get back to us with the final number, that we're kind of prepared for that?
Yeah, so I've been told about an estimated value of around 60,000. We do have in O&G's allowance about 29,900, so almost 30 grand. So it should be a net around 30,000.
And what amount of that do you think we can capture in a later time when we make the switch? No pun intended. This is a temporary switch, correct? Right.
Yeah, so I don't have the exact numbers right now. I'm trying to figure out what is the actual material cost versus which is the labor cost. So that's what I should have with the next couple of days.
So we'll have a number of the projected amount that we can recoup at a later time, whether it be a year or 18 months from now, with that report in the next couple of 5, 6, 7 days.
Yeah, we should have a number to what is the value is going to be. Yes.
Okay,
The
all
labor
right,
versus
okay.
material.
Now, are you going to need a motion from us tonight to move on that, or how is that? How do you want that to work?
We probably
can-
should, because we are going to procure it. So I just want to make sure everyone's on board and understanding that we are getting these materials. So I don't know if there's a value that we can cap up to and then reconvene next month with hopefully a final number.
Can I, Jay,
John,
just
yes.
be clear, because I guess I'm hearing that there's some confusion there. So we're renting this or we're purchasing it, that we'll be able to sell it later, or we're gonna just rent it for the period of time?
I don't have a definite answer. They're trying to get what they can find, and right now it might be a purchase.
Okay,
But if they
Okay.
can rent something and they find something right now, everything's been purchased.
gotcha. Okay,
So if we purchase it, is it going to be something long-term or do we get to resell it later?
You can resell it,
that's the recovery cost, yeah.
right?
Okay. Just making sure I understood.
Through the chair, I know of at least one project that's already asked when you'll be done with it because they're interested in obtaining it for temporary service themselves. So I think there's going to continue to be interest in this type of gear moving forward in the next year or two, unfortunately. But you should be able to flip it.
Well, that's good to hear. Thank you, Jack. But back to my question for Jay is, do they need us to formulate a motion so they can move forward on this? Because we're not going to be having a special meeting in 6 or 7 or 8 days.
Yes.
Okay, all right. John, did you want to try and put together a motion for that?
I make a motion that we authorize O&G to purchase the temporary switchgear.
Or you want to put an amount number in that or
Yeah, we
not?
say, well, up to a total of $60,000 with a net of 30, I guess.
I think that's important to leave the net in there of 30.
Right.
Do I hear a second?
Second. So
Any
moved.
further discussion? Thank you, Mike.
If I could, Jay, is that going to give you enough room? Is there a chance that it's going to come in at 61,000? Do you need to have a little bit of a factor of safety in there if your budget is 60?
I think we're good for this month.
Okay.
For that, that'd be fine.
Okay,
Because
all right.
some of the labor is going to include taking it out, which won't be up to March of next year. So that part we can hold off if we have to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
All right,
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Jay. So with that out of the way, did you want to start with, I guess it's change order number 20?
Yes. So the
With the
first
amount
one, is
Yeah, go
PCO 20, revision 2. And this is for bulletin number 4. This is for due to coordination. We had a building enclosure for the plumbing lines, and it's in an amount of $961.
Your motion to approve this change order,
So moved.
Mike?
Or motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Your second. Any questions? Any comments? All those in favor?
all right,
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion moves forward. Go ahead, Jay.
The next one is PCO 28, revision number 2. And this is for some additional fire alarm equipment per RFI 40. And in the amount of $8,709.
So why do we need this additional fire alarm
Yeah.
equipment?
First, let's get a motion and then we can discuss it.
yeah, so moved.
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Lucian.
So why do we need additional fire alarm devices?
Solution, I'll jump in. So we had the fire marshal review the drawings after the fact, and we had a couple areas that came up, one being the 2 outdoor learning areas he classified as classrooms. So we had to add 2 additional devices to each of those areas, which was a big driver in this extra cost.
When you say after the fact, Brian, what do you mean after the fact?
Like the fire marshal reviewed drawings after they'd been issued.
He did, so.
And approved?
Were they reviewed before?
They were reviewed as part of the OSC, the PCR pre-bid conformance process, where we asked that the building official and the fire marshal review the drawings. So they had reviewed them upon further review, after we went through that process and went through bidding. This was an additional request.
A request
Additional
by the-
device.
By the fire marshal?
Yes.
I believe that's
Brian?
correct.
Yes, yep.
Yes, by the fire marshal.
So we are adding 2 devices.
No, there's a little bit more information. There is 2 devices per area, so it's 4 for just those additional outside learning areas. If we went through the whole thing, there is some additional subtraction added of a couple other devices as well.
So we are adding and deleting, omitting some devices.
Yeah, there was some. Yes, correct.
Is this out of the normal of other jurisdictions you're seeing, or is this?
It's just the fire marshal's interpretation of what those outside learning areas are, really, for those
I think the
devices.
key here is upon further review. And our experience has been in the past, Bill, that upon further review for the fire marshal means that, you know, if he sees something either on site or later, when he looks at the plans again, that he interprets as he has here, this is the result. Upon further review, I think is the catchphrase that delivers this end result.
Well, I understand that from that fire marshal's perspective. I would just wonder
Yeah.
if this is a common issue.
Oh, if it's a common issue, I'm not sure if Justin.
I
answer
can
that.
speak, I can speak to that. It's not uncommon to add devices occasionally based on review of either a field review or a subsequent review via a fire marshal or a building official. The important thing is that we address the safety concerns when those officials bring them up.
No question.
And I will say that the original PCO, when this started, was about 50% higher than it is now. So we worked with the subcontractor to identify legitimate adds and deducts and brought it down to its, I mean, it's still not an inconsequential amount, but it's down from approximately $13,000.
Thank you for your efforts, Justin. Any further questions? I'll call the motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Are you opposed, Bill, or are you in favor?
No, I'm aye.
I'm an aye. Okay, good. All those, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Jay, if you want to go on to the next one.
All right, the next one is PCO 33, revision number 2. And this is for some casework, door, plumbing, electrical revisions per bulletin 10R. And it's a credit of $6,779.
Well, that's nice to see a credit for something.
I'll make a motion on that one.
There you go. I'll hear a second.
Second.
Second, thank you, John. Go ahead, Justin.
I was just going to mention this came as a result of populating the initial pass of the FF&E plan with Principal Lizzetti, going through the review of exactly what things were furniture pieces versus what things were millwork, resulted in a net deduction of some casework and some doors. So that's what's going into this credit.
And from your previous discussion or your explanation with the technology and the FF&E, this hasn't had a negative impact on that, so we're still good there.
Correct.
Okay, so we're not gonna pay for it later, so we're good. It's a real credit. Go ahead, Bill.
But just a question. So really, it's just transferring from one budget to another.
It's it's a specific subcontractor. You know, we through review with Mike, we overbaked some of the millwork and some of the special education or resource rooms. So it's really not tied to the budget in the FF&E. It's a legitimate credit to the project. We were going to need the furniture that we have in those spaces, regardless of whether or not this millwork was in there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about this motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Jay, you can move on to the next one.
Okay, the next one is PCO 34 revision number 1. And this is to provide some labor material equipment for the gym paddle fan emergency shutdown that was required when in the return of the submittal. And this is in the amount of $1,775.
Your motion?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Second, Ryan, thank you. Discussion? Any questions?
Yeah, so
John?
the shut off wasn't requested as part of the original spec?
Brian, you want to handle this one?
Sure. So we had it on mechanical drawings. Electrically, it was just coordination issue. That electrically, we just didn't have that one piece picked up. So we had it on the mechanical drawings shown, but now it became an issue with who was owning the actual wiring up to the fans and that interconnect.
So that coordination.
I've been involved in this kind of argument before. If it's on one drawing, it's not on the other, who's responsible?
That's kind of what we're going through right now with the finger pointing and who owns it.
But I guess the question is, why should we pay for it? Shouldn't either the electrician or the mechanical guy got it covered? One of them.
Somebody should have it covered.
It's on the mechanical plan. Even the electrician owns what's on the mechanical plan, but that's another story.
Yeah, I'm not sure else to say that one. That's a tough one to go down with both the contractors. We've gone through it. We've tried to reduce it down as much as we could with what we've had on the drawings.
I mean, Lucian, you've had this situation, I'm sure, before. How do they resolve it?
Well, the mechanical gives you the switch, but somebody has to wire it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that mechanical owns it, but
Yeah,
I'm sure that Mike not gonna like
I was
that.
gonna say, John, you would have made me pay for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as worried about this particular PCO, but I don't want to set up a expectation that we're going to be eating these conflicts going forward because we're still relatively early in this project.
Nope, understood.
Just go on that list.
Sounds
But
like
it's a
it
matter
should.
of which list it would go on, if it's design list or contractor list, like that matters too. So we have to assign.
Somebody has to take responsibility for it, even if we're paying for it. I mean, we
Well-
own it in the end, but
Well, sort of, this is value added to the project, and the switch was supposed to be wired one way or another. So if it was shown on electrical, we had to pay for it somehow. I mean, I don't think the question is the amount, if it's a fair amount.
And there was no question for clarification during the bidding process?
There was not.
No.
Typically, we argue the fact that the documents are complementary and that the contractor is given access to the entire set of documents. So that if there is something that's shown on another trade that impacts your work, you are responsible to coordinate it. So I would typically push back on the contractor whose equipment who should be wiring the equipment, that the equipment was shown to have a switch if it was in fact shown on the mechanicals, that the electrical should have picked it up, or should have at least submitted an RFI to inquire and clarify.
Yeah.
So right now it is being tracked on the change order matrix as a design issue because of the coordination bust. But I would ask you, Jay, to, loop back through the discussion and approach it from that perspective that the documents complement one another and that the trade should be picking these things up.
Okay,
Given that, I'm gonna move to table this till the next meeting, till those conversations happen.
okay. Can you weigh
Yeah,
in on this?
I'll second that.
Yes. I will go back and relook at it, and double check that it's actually showing the mechanical drawings. And, we'll get back to you
Okay,
for the next
all
meeting.
right. Okay, so all those in favor of tabling? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move forward with that. We'll revisit that next month. Okay, next change order, I think, is number 39.
Yes, PCO 39 revision number 1. This is for an added test header per bulletin 14 in the amount of $6,478.
I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
thank you, Lucian. Discussion?
Brian, you want to give them a little color to this one?
Sure. So we had 2 connections shown on the drawings to get coordinated with the fire department. We thought had we had coordinated that, we're gonna have a Storts connection on the outside of the building. It figures out that the fire department actually uses a Siamese connection. So we can't use that same Siamese connection as a fire department connection like we could with a Storts fitting. So we have to just tap another pipe off to bring it up to that same location so the fire department can have their fire department connection and then their separate hookup with the Siamese. So unfortunately with the Storts connection, we don't need that separate piece, but due to the fire department, everyone's different. Some require Siamese, some require the 1 5-inch Storts connection. So due to that, we have to provide this extra piece up.
And we didn't know that at the time of bidding out all of this fire protection work?
We had thought we coordinated that with the fire marshal at the time, but it seems it got lost in translation.
So there was a conversation about this or not?
One took place at the beginning of the project. I can't find documentation or anything in writing that actually, indicates what was discussed. So. that's on
So
us.
Brian, can you explain to me again, what are we doing here?
So, Lucian, we had originally had a Storts as the fire department connection
Okay,
on the outside of the building. The fire
freestanding,
department- Say that again?
freestanding,
No, it was just coming out through the side of the building, through the
Okay.
wall. The fire department doesn't want a Storts, they want a Siamese fire
Okay.
department connection. So they're requesting another hookup next to it for the fire department, because we can't back feed to test through the Siamese.
but that's a different connection. The test connection is different from the fire department connection.
Correct, but if we had a Storts, you can use it as a fire department connection, the same one. So that's why we're having the issue to add it now.
But you're just saying about testing the system.
Yeah, we can't test it through the Siamese connection is what the fire marshal is requesting now, the fire department's requesting.
So we are missing the test connection.
Correct, because we need a Siamese connection and not the Storts is which is what we had.
Do we need both?
When the fire department requests a Siamese connection, yes. It's 2 different connections. One has 2 connections coming out and one is just a single. It's all depending on what the fire department has on their trucks to actually hook up to the building. So what's available to them.
And no documentation about talking about this with them before.
I do not have any, no.
How common is it that you use the Stubbs connection as a test?
Well, it depends on the fire department
No, I
jurisdiction, but
understand that, I understand, but I'm asking how common is that, that the fire department has that connection on the trucks?
the Storts and Siamese, I mean, it's about 50-50. I've seen it
Okay.
both ways used for fire departments, yeah. One's not really that much more common than the other.
One would think that somebody would know what the Simsbury Fire Department uses. I mean, it's not like they change their connections every couple of 5 or 10 years, I don't think. I think this is something that they've been using for a long, long time and will continue to use for a long, long time in the future. And I would think that that type of information would be, you know, kind of a simple question up front way back when.
Correct.
I just think that somebody dropped the ball, and I don't think it was the fire department, because they only have one kind of connection to think about. They're not
What
designing
did we
connections
do?
for the towns.
What did you do at the middle school?
Say that again, Lucian?
What did you do at the middle school?
What kind of connection? Good
Yeah,
question. I would think it's the same.
Because
That's
it was your company, Brian, that did the middle school as well, right? Henry James.
Yes, yep.
I think it falls back to you guys. You got errors and omissions on your end, Brian? CES? It's a pretty, you know, I mean, transparent issue. I mean, this is not, you know, complicated.
Sure, it's also, I mean, it's something that when we went through the whole review process as well, I'm surprised it wasn't picked up on the fire marshal to specify what connection they wanted in the town.
Yeah, I wonder what you guys had figured
but
out
they
the
only
last
have-
job.
But they only have one, so why would they even bring it up?
Sure, but
Right.
towns sometimes change. I can't rely on information from, 4 or 5 years ago on a previous
No,
job.
you may not, but that's why you asked the question.
Yep, correct.
So I would say that we list this. It is a change that is entitled to the subcontractor. And we're obviously tracking when these things come up. They're not they're obvious when they come up. And we put them on the list.
Okay, so it's on the list as one of those things that we're not happy about.
Yep.
Hearing that, I think that's all we can say. We have to have it. I'm sorry, Bill, you got a question?
No, Mike's got a question.
Mike?
Yeah, cost aside, there's been a couple of items that have come up where it sounds like the town is doing a review much later than issuing the permit. Are we making sure that, we're going to bring all of this to a head so we're not going to get surprised right before CO?
Yeah, I will say that a lot of this is coming up as part of great involvement by the town during construction here. They've been involved in communicating and on site with O&G. So a lot of this stuff that's being picked up either through coordination or building officials. I don't, there's always going to be an additional exit sign that is requested or maybe an additional thing, but I believe that these folks are engaged.
Okay, so you don't see a lot of exposure going forward.
No.
Okay. Any other last questions? Hearing none, I'll call a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion moves forward. Okay, Jay, you're up again.
All right, the next one is PCO 45, and this is to delete a roof ladder due to coordination with the chiller piping per RFI 39. And this is a credit of $737.
Okay. We like credits. Second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mike.
is the facility staff okay with deleting access? Typically, there's it's never enough access. So as long as the school's okay with deleting the ladder, then I think it's fine, but.
Yeah, this is Justin. There are other, this is a ladder that is, once you're on the roof through an access hatch, this is a ladder that connects you from one level to another. So there are other ways to get to the roof once you're on it. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so they're okay with that. All right, I'll call the motion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion moves forward, carries. We'll go on to Jay, I think number 46.
Yes, the next one is PCO 46. And this is for revisions to the playscape equipment for bulletin 15. And this is a $0 change.
Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. We'll move on, Jay, to number 47.
Okay, PCO 47. And this is revisions to the service conduit pathways per bulletin 12R in the amount of $0.
Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Number 50, change order 50, Jay?
Yes, next one's PCO 50. And this is to excavate and remove unsuitable soils between manhole 21 and manhole 31 in place with the proper material in the amount of $861. So the total amount of unsuitable was 22 cubic yards that was removed.
Motion,
Yeah, so moved. Second.
second, thank you. Any discussion?
Do we anticipate any additional unsuitable soils?
We do not. We actually did a test pit on the east side of the site where the new underground detention system's going, and they did not hit anything. They didn't hit rock. They didn't hit anything unsuitable. So fingers crossed that I think we're out of it.
And the, Jay, the test pit was one test pit, two test pits? How big of an area are we talking?
They did 4 test pits.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Okay, great, great.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Change order 51.
Okay, the next one's PCO 51 revision number 1, and this is for some additional safety railing at the gym. And the amount is for $0 due to coming out of CM contingency. So the contractor cost was $1,105, and then it would come out of CM contingency.
Motion for this?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Ryan, any discussion? It's all about safety. Hearing none? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Getting close. Number 52.
Okay, the next one's PCO 52 revision 1. And this is to install a temporary stair at the gym to get from the gym level to the stage area, and to install some temporary safety signage, basically construction signs and hard hat glasses signs, things like that. So especially at the front entrance of our gate. So when people pull in, they know it's a construction area. So it's a net $0 to the project coming out of CM contingency, and the contractor's cost was $1,600.
Motion,
Yeah, so
So
moved.
moved.
seconded. Any
Second.
discussion? Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we're going to 53, I believe.
Yep, next one's PCO 53. And this is for some engineering of the north parapet at the gym to support the polycarbonate windows. The steel posts that were shown on the drawings were not purchased. In working out with Tecton and Michael Horton, the structural engineer, they decided they could build it out of cold form metal framing. And so since the cold form metal framing was not that much, the contractor did not charge for the additional labor or materials. They just charged for the engineering cost only. It's the amount of $787, and it's going to come out of CM contingency, so a net zero.
Motion for this?
So moved.
Okay,
So I'll
thank you,
second
Mike. Seconded.
Yep.
Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Number 54.
Next was PCO 54. And this is to revise the underground sanitary line from 4-inch to a 6-inch per the Town of Simsbury Water Pollution Control Authority. And this is in the amount of $4,339.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Brian, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Annette, Mike. Questions?
What line is this, Jay?
This is the sanitary line.
There is one for the entire building at 4-inch?
It was designed as a 4-inch, but it had to be a 6-inch, yes.
Yeah, but it's one for the entire building, or there are several?
The one on the north side of the building.
So there is another one.
There's, yes, on the south side.
So what's the size of the one on the south side?
Tom, you want to weigh in on this one?
Yeah, I think the south side is 6-inch, so we matched the MEP plan that came out, and we had, to be honest, the WPCA left a message with told us that they had mistakenly not mailed out their or sent us out their comments that said to change it from a 4 to 6-inch.
But yeah, I think WPCA did comment on that. I think there may have been, it may not have made it to you. I don't know, but I know they did comment because 6-inch is the standard for all town laterals.
Yeah, that might, we got a call from him. He said, hey, it looked like you picked up a lot of our comments. But then when he went back to his records, he realized that we never received those comments about the 4 to 6, unfortunately.
But you knew the other one was a 6, right?
But the 6, well, that's coming out of the building at a 6, the MEP. On this side, it's coming out of the building at MEP as a 4-inch.
Now, Tom, if one side is 6, wouldn't it make sense that the both sides would be 6, especially if Tom Roy just said that all of the town buildings are 6-inch? I mean, where did this 4-inch come from?
Because it's coming out of the building at a 4-inch, and we match the size coming out of the building.
They're pre-existing pipe there already coming out at 4 inches?
No, there's proposed pipes coming out of the
Right,
building.
right.
at
That's what I'm
4
saying.
inch.
Why was it proposed at 4 inches instead of 6?
The plumbing plan is coming out of the building at 4.
Who
So
made
we
up the
pick it up.
plumbing
We
plan?
pick it up as it comes out
We-
the
Right.
building.
Who
We-
created the plumbing plan?
We created the plumbing plan and we size, and that drainage line is sized off of all our calculations for fixtures. If the town of Simsbury wants everything to be 6 inches outside the building, that's for the town of Simsbury, but 4-inch is perfectly fine. And our calculations show that size can carry to the building, which is why we show it.
And there was no question to Simsbury about whether they wanted a 4 or 6.
Again, as Tom reported, WPCA recognized that they forgot to send that comment along, that comment was not in their lists of information that was provided to SLR. So
I understand.
they're catching up on it after the fact.
And the 4-inch was on the plans even before we went to planning and zoning.
Sounds like this is on the town for a communication. We didn't give them the notice, but my question is still, is it still a 4-inch to a 6-inch as it's leaving the building now?
You know, it's 4-inch into the grease trap. There's another 4-inch. There's 2 4-inches that actually come out on this side, and then comes out of the grease trap. And then after it comes out of the grease trap, the town asked for it to go to a 6-inch.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where there was a miscommunication. I just know that, the comments from our WPCA superintendent, he told me that he had put in the comments that it has to be 6-inch. That's just the WPCA standard because it has to do not so much with capacity, but potential for clogging, ability to maintain it, clean it out, that type of thing.
Sure. Again, this, I wasn't trying to say,
No.
Tom, I wasn't trying to play it on you. I'm just trying to, SLR did what they were supposed to do and didn't get the information to change it, it sounds like.
Yeah, and we did receive several, there was a big staff, as you know, towns always have, Simsbury does a very good job. There's a big staff meeting. I think, Jack, you were there. And at the time, we received several comments from WPCA and he said that we incorporated all those.
All right.
And I did look at the plans that we used at that staff review, and it was a 4-inch on that plan set.
Any other comments from the committee members? I think that the fire marshal works for us, the town, and the WPA works for us, the town. I think we have to stand with them and give them what they want. So that's my recommendation is they want a 6-inch pipe. We should give them a 6-inch pipe. I'm going to call the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And I think last but not least is PCO number 55.
Yeah, there's two more.
Feels like
55.
65.
Yeah, PCO 55. And this is to when a existing yard drain was called to be removed. There was actually water. It was tied into an existing storm line that had flow to it and water. So we had set up some pumps on Friday. And then on that Monday, we tied it into a existing or a newer yard drain that we had installed. It was manhole 18. So that was to capture the water that was going underneath the basketball court. And this is in the amount of $6,106.
Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Discussion, questions? Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move on to, I think the last one is 56, but Jay, you let me know.
Yep, last one, PCO 56. And this is for some overtime to work the concrete contractor to expedite phase 1, area A and B. And it's in the amount of $378 for the contractor, but it's coming out of CM contingency. So it's a net zero to the project.
Motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Ryan.
Second.
Second, Bill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Hearing none, that motion carries. I think that's everything, Jay?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I think we'll move on to, before we do the invoices, I don't want to forget, there's a brief discussion coming up about the storage for the library books. I think that's Justin Casey, are you there?
Mr.
Jason
Chairman,
Casey, Jason.
Yep. So we did talk to our insurance company and we're told that the policies that we have do cover the books, both in packing on site, transit and storage off site. So there's no additional insurance that's needed for that.
Okay.
great.
Well, thank you, Bill, for bringing that question up, and thank you, Jason, for getting the information to us. So that's good news, and that can just go in the record and we'll move forward. I think that we can go to the invoices. The first invoice is with Arcadis. My lighting is not too good here. It's the amount of $12,318. I'm going to get the light The invoice number is 36969, May 2023, May 25th. Do I hear a motion?
That's invoice number 34366969.
Right. Yes, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes for that invoice. Just had to turn the light up a little bit, sorry. Okay, the next invoice we have is from Tecton. And I'll make sure I'll turn the light up on this one for sure. All right, so this is the date is 5/25/2023. The invoice number is 46284. In the amount of $20,973. Your motion?
So move.
Second. Any discussion? Any questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll pay that invoice. The third is Tri-State Materials Testing. Invoice 11780, 6/15/2023, in the amount of $6,193.65. Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second? Somebody said second. Who was it?
Yeah, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Any discussion?
Just noting the date is 5/16/2023.
5/16. Okay, mine says 6/15. But of course, that would not make
Due date.
sense.
It's the due date
Oh,
versus
due
the
date.
date of the
Oh, yeah,
invoice.
yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Got it.
I do have one question before the vote. We have two tri-state invoices. Is that
Yes,
accurate?
yes.
Okay.
The
Correct.
second one is 5,800 and something, right? This one is separate, 6193.65. On the date is 5/16. Thank you for correcting that. All those in favor of paying this motion? I'm paying this bill? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So Tri-State has a second one, which is invoice number 11782. The date is 5/16/23. The amount is $5,876.90. Any discussion? Gotta get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Mike. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. We go to SES. Date is 5/31/2023. The payment application is number 6 in the amount of $1,900. Invoice number actually is 3937. Looking for a motion, please?
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Second, thank you, Bill. Any comments, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none. We go to the final, which is from O&G, application number 6, May 24th, 2023, in the amount of $2,022,668.94.
Yes. So moved.
Motion?
Yeah.
So moved and seconded.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And that should be all of the invoices. I think the last item that we need to discuss is next month's meeting. I think it's originally scheduled for the 3rd of July, which of course is the day before the 4th of July. I think we need to reschedule that meeting for either the 10th or for the 5th. I will not be here on either the 5th or the 10th. I've asked John Salvatore as the next senior ranking member of the committee to run that meeting, whatever day it is, whether it be the 5th or the 10th. But we need to come up with a date where we'll have at least 5 members available for quorum. So we need to hear from everybody tonight. Ryan, Mike,
The 10th would work better for me.
okay?
I'll just check calendar.
Yeah,
I think the 10th would work better for me.
Bill, okay, that's good.
I'm
Lucia,
good. I'm good.
on the 10th, Lucia?
Either or. Doesn't
Either
matter.
or, okay, all right, and just up to you, Ryan, then.
Just pulling my calendar now.
That gives us 5.
Right.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, the 10th should be fine.
Someone should reach out to David, I don't know, Tom Roy. Can you do that? Not now, I meant after the fact. After the fact, make sure that David Soskin knows that we've changed the meeting in case he misses his email or misses his notification. I don't want him to not be available.
Yeah, I'll send him an email and I'll also send an email to the town clerk so she can notice it as well.
Right. That'll be the 6th member. This way you'll have
Right.
hopefully a buffer for 5.
And just a more technicality that we're not really rescheduling, we're doing is we're canceling a regular meeting and scheduling a special meeting. The
You're
only
correct. Yes.
consequence of that is
Absolutely, yeah.
once the agenda is finalized, we can't change it in the meeting as we normally would be allowed to do.
Because it's a special meeting.
Correct.
Correct, I understand. You're right. Thank you for bringing that point up, Ryan. I need a motion to change the meeting date to the 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. The special meeting has been called for the 10th of July at 7 o'clock. Okay, any other business? Looking for a motion? Mike?
Just before we close,
Yes.
I was able to be the lucky guest on a special tour that Principal Luzetti put on, and I just wanted to note that the school staff and particularly him is doing an incredible job encouraging engagement and building excitement around the project. And as far as I could see, everybody's happy with the O&G team and things are going smoothly. So I just wanted to give everyone a big thumbs up, and they're looking forward to seeing a lot more progress when they get back in the new year.
Thanks, Mike. It was great to have you.
That's great feedback. That's great feedback. And thank you for the special tour for him. That's great.
Definitely.
We all should come down and get one at some point.
Absolutely.
Maybe over the summer we can make it happen, even though the kids aren't there, but that might be even quicker and easier. Okay, I think we're good. Do I hear a motion to
Can I just jump
adjourn?
in?
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Oh, Bill,
Jason.
I'm sorry, I didn't see Bill was looking to chime in too. If you can go ahead of me.
So I'm just curious, given that we are short on members, how are we coming along for getting additional members? And particularly over the summer, as we're just talking about what's happening with the 4th of July, how do we continue to get a quorum? And I'm being, again, kind of new to this, what's happening to get us additional members?
I think we're kind of working through the liaison to this committee, which would be Eric Wellman, and basically putting out the call that we need new members. I believe the open slot is a Democratic slot, so it's up to the DTC to make a recommendation. I would also say, if anybody knows anybody that would be willing to serve on the committee and has the right skill set, would be to go in reverse, tell that person to contact the DTC so that they can get put on the committee.
Yeah, my real concern is that something comes up with one of these meetings and we're not going to have a quorum, and I don't want to slow things down.
Yeah, I agree 100%. After the last meeting, I checked with our town clerk, who was adamant that we still need 5 for a quorum, which was somewhat surprising, but it's what she does and she knows the rules better than anyone. But I'll reach back out to Eric Wellman this week just to remind him of the critical nature that we're facing.
Yeah, but we actually have 2 open slots, correct?
Right.
Yeah, 2 open slots. And it really falls in the end on the Board of Selectmen, because the Board of Selectmen can decide in their wisdom to bring anybody in from any unaffiliated party or any other party. It doesn't have to be a Democrat. Right now, that's the preference based on the rules that have been set up, but they have the will to change that at any time that they want. So the pressure is, if you know someone on the Board of Selectmen, call them up on the phone and tell them, hey, listen, we're a little short on members. Can you kind of scratch your head there and, work with whoever comes forward and get somebody else that's got the skill set on the committee. It's never been a partisan committee, doesn't need to be a partisan committee, but it does need more than 5 or 6 members. So we need to try to get, back up to 8, if not 9, as soon as possible.
I've passed on some names to Eric, and that's why I'm just trying to make sure we keep pushing that in the right direction.
Okay, all right.
The only other thing that I was trying to get in earlier is, given that we have less RFIs or less submittals coming in, would we anticipate that we have less change orders coming along as well? Or am I being very optimistic there?
Very optimistic.
The
I would
quantity
say if we have-
has reduced.
Pardon?
The quantity has reduced. We're tracking a few out there, but it's not as has been.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Years ago, Bill, just to let you know, we used to be able to take the whole month of August off because we didn't have these kinds of issues with these change orders and all these other unexpected circumstances. But now we're working 12 months a year, so we just have to do the best we can.
I'm just hearkening back to those good old days.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. All right. I think we're good.
Sorry, my internet cut
Jason
out.
still has one.
Yeah, my internet had cut out just as I was about to talk. Just wanted to let you know, we had a contingent on the bookshelves being moved off-site. We wanted to hear more about the insurance. The school's Kerma insurance does cover that. So I believe June 16th now is the date that they'll be packing up the books.
Okay. Good to know.
Yep.
Okay, the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen. And
Thank you. Have a good night.
enjoy enjoy your 4th of July holiday weekend. Somebody will see you on the 10th.